whatever it is, but now that it's done and, you know, it's happened at the end of the year and getting some guys back and getting healthy again, it's a blessing in disguise.
Sometimes, you know, an early bye could backfire too. You know, you gotta, especially if you want to be a playoff team and make a deep run. You know, it's a long season if you get an early bye.
Now, kicker Enny Piñera was back in practice yesterday. He strained his right hamstring last month. He sat out 2 games. He says the bye week gave him some much-needed time to get healthy, and he plans to play this Sunday against the Tennessee Titans. The game starts at 1:25. And make sure you stay with us here at KTVU for our Toyota Point After show. After Sunday's game, we'll break down the biggest moments, plus get reaction from the 49ers. Well, Bay FC officially has a new head coach. Emma Coates will lead the team in their 3rd season. She most recently coached England's under-23 team and led them to an undefeated championship season in the European League in 2024. Ms. Coates says she'll work hard to make Bay FC fans proud of their team.
We're obsessed with the process of winning, and the culture that we develop will be that balance between people bringing the best version of themselves to the club day in, day out, whilst driving for success and brilliance in every single thing that we do.
Now, Emma Coates is replacing coach Albertine Montoya, who led Bay FC to a playoff berth in their 1st season, but clashed with the players last season over his style of coaching. A nonprofit fund to help build affordable homes in San Francisco quicker and cheaper is getting a big boost. The Housing Accelerator Fund announced it's raised an extra $50 million for its Bay Area Housing Innovation Fund, doubling its total investment to $100 million. The money will help to finance and build more than 1,000 affordable homes in the next 2 years.
We're able to do with the amazing corporate partnership with Apple and philanthropic support from Sobrato and others is actually provide developers with financing that allows them to move at the speed of the market and deliver projects like this one.
The new round of funding comes as the nonprofit's first project is scheduled to be completed this month. It's a 145-unit development on Valencia Street. It'll be available for formerly homeless senior citizens. Well, if you're heading to the annual Burning Man Art and Music Festival in Nevada, you should eventually have an easier time of getting there. County officials approved a $30 million improvement project for access to Black Rock Desert. That's where tens of thousands of burners gather over Labor Day weekend. The County Road 34 serves as the main corridor to get in and out of Black Rock City. Some of the improvements will include new pavement and culverts and intersection upgrades. The construction is due to be completed in 2030. All right, California's capital Christmas tree is glowing in Christmas lights with the help of 2 5-year-old twins who lost their home in Altadena in the Eaton fire. Rebecca and Jude Kessler joined Governor Newsom and first partner Jennifer Siebold Newsom for the 94th annual Capitol tree lighting ceremony last night. The governor encouraged building community during the holiday season.
The spirit of the holidays is about unity. It's about coming together across our differences, about focusing on what's right, not what's wrong. I say this all the time. We're nothing but a mirror of our consistent thoughts. Whatever we focus on, we find more of.
Now, that event also featured a food drive. It benefits Sacramento Food Bank and Family Services.
Budget woes continue for the Oakland Unified School District. The new proposals discussed last night to try and draw the district out of a financial slump. Plus,
a lot of who I am today because of him. Just a lot of the lessons he instilled in me just as a man outside of football.
the legacy of Coach John Beam shining bright in Oakland, how people paid tribute to his contributions both on and off the football field. Then,
I hope we get some sunlight here soon.
foggy conditions in the Inland Bay Area and beyond affecting more than just the weather. Why the persistent fog can also cost some homeowners money.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Good morning and welcome to KTVU Mornings on 2. I'm Allie Rasmus.
I'm Andre Sr. It is Thursday, December 11th. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We're dealing with more fog across the Bay Area. And of course, you're going to have to grab a jacket as you head out the door. Devin Truby's here with us this morning with a look at your forecast. Devin?
Yeah, Andre, good morning. I love this new haircut, but man, your ears are going to be cold with this weather, I got to say, unfortunately. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look out at this gorgeous picture. We can see that dense fog that's sitting right about 1,000, 2,000 feet. So as we take a look out over Monuments Peak, we've got Santa Clara Valley on the right, the reservoir on the left, to kind of put everything in perspective. And you can see just the clear sky above it. This fog creates that nice temperature inversion for us. So unfortunately, it's probably 10 degrees warmer above the fog. Wish it could be that warm for us down here, as everyone is still sitting in about the low 40s this morning. That's probably going to continue for at least another 90 minutes. Went ahead and highlighted those areas impacted by the dense fog in gray on the map for you. This has been impacting visibilities for our drive this morning. Probably about a mile in San Jose. Livermore is improving by about a mile by the hour. Santa Rosa back down to half a mile. That is someplace you're definitely going to want to watch out for as we bring in Mr. Sal Castaneda with a look at your traffic. He said he's been liking it, but does he love it this morning?
Yeah, you know, I don't think it's that bad, Devin. I think I like it pretty much. Let's go right to the East Bay. I want to show you that Highway 4 westbound is slow from Railroad over to Concord at the Willow Pass exit. That's not unusual. 680 is still looking pretty decent between the Benicia Bridge and the Walnut Creek interchange, with a little bit of slowing at the interchange. That's not unusual there, but you will see some slowing. Let's also talk about the Bay Bridge. That is backed up all the way out to the maze, and the metering lights are on. It's 7:01. Let's get back to the headlines.
Thank you, Sal. The Oakland Unified School District needs to cut $100 million from its budget before the next school year. If it doesn't, the district faces another state takeover. KTVU's James Torres joins us live from the newsroom to explain the discussions school leaders, parents, and students are having about what they want to see in their next budget and what they want cut. James?
Allie, good morning to you. Well, the Oakland Unified School District only recently escaped state receivership, and the board still struggling to figure out how to cut down on its $100 million projected deficit. Some ideas include cuts to central office that would save about $21 million, another $32 million worth of cuts to school site budgets, and $20 million cut from special education are all on the table. A group of students and parents from Skyline High School spoke to board members asking the board to prioritize funding for student safety and security. That's after a shooting on campus last month.
Our students and teachers must have safety. Please ensure that funding continues for violence interrupters, staff training on safety and discipline practices, mental health services, and security measures.
The ideas brought forth by Interim Superintendent Denise Sadler also relied on a 2% increase in attendance to add to its revenue, though the parents from Skyline warned without a sense of safety, attendance would surely decline. The board voted to further consider the superintendent's plan. The district needs to make those decisions and cuts by the 2026-27 school year. Andre.
All right, James, thank you so much. Time now, 7:03. Communities in Oakland continue to honor the life and legacy of Laney football college coach John Beam. Last night, nearly 1,000 people gathered on the college campus for a memorial walk that ended at the football stadium. People used candles to write the word "Believe" on the field. Last month, Beam was shot on campus and died the next day. We talked with people about the profound impact he had on so many students.
If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have gone to college. If it weren't for him, my son wouldn't be going to college to play football and receive a free education.
He saw potential when others saw problems. He saw resilience where others saw struggle. And he built a culture where young men learned discipline, accountability, and self-worth.
A celebration of life will be held January 10th. The man accused of killing Beam is due back in court next week.
Well, more than a month after he was sentenced, we're now hearing the moments a former pilot and Pleasant Hill man tried to turn off the engine of an Alaska Airlines jet while in flight.
I took mushrooms. Okay. How long ago? 48 hours.
That's video and audio from inside a police car after Joseph Emerson was arrested. In the video, you hear him talking about taking mushrooms in October 2023. The off-duty pilot was flying as a passenger inside the cockpit of a Horizon Air flight from Everett, Washington to San Francisco. That's when he suddenly lunged for a handle that would have cut the engines. This is audio from the cockpit.
Horizon, we need to make an emergency landing.
I'm sorry, who was that?
That's Horizon 2059. We got a jump seater. Just try to shut our engines off. We need to go direct to Portland now.
You feel like you want to harm yourself? No, I just felt like I wanted to wake up. I felt like I was having a dream. I felt like I was having a bad dream. Okay. I've been feeling like I've been having a bad dream since 2 nights ago.
The Horizon pilot and co-pilot were able to subdue Emerson and get the plane safely to the ground. Emerson has since founded a nonprofit that focuses on the health and wellness of pilots and air traffic controllers. The now former pilot was sentenced to time served and community service. He was also ordered to stay away from all aircraft.
At 7:06, a pro-housing group is suing California Governor Gavin Newsom over a ban on duplex construction in wildfire-prone areas. In a lawsuit filed yesterday, the group YIMBY Law claims Newsom's executive order violates state law by restricting a housing law that allows property owners to subdivide lots. Supporters say the law helps fire victims rebuild and address the housing crisis, while critics argue it increases fire risks. Newsom is defending the ban, saying it protects vulnerable communities.
San Francisco leaders want to bring more film and TV production to the city. Board of Supervisors President Raphael Mandelman says the way to do that is to boost the city's tax incentives for filmmakers. Productions that spend at least $500,000 locally and film 5 days in San Francisco could qualify for rebates, including up to 20% back on local spending. The productions could also get a rebate on things like permits and police. A final vote on the proposal is expected early next year.
You have likely noticed it if you live east of the Caldecott Tunnel. It's been really foggy and cloudy for the last few weeks, so much so that fog has been visible from space. This time-lapse video put together by Colorado State researchers shows for the last 16 days, the Central Valley has been shrouded in Tule fog. At times, that fog stretches all the way from Chico down past Bakersfield and stretches into the Delta and the East Bay as well. The gloomy weather means less sunlight for solar panels, and that means higher energy bills for some customers. One homeowner says a lack of sunlight means his solar panels are producing 50% less power on the foggiest days compared to what he typically sees. He says he hasn't seen his bill just yet, but he's not looking forward to it.
Going to be probably a little shocked. Not going to be a happy camper. This is unusual to have fog this long, for sure. Yeah, we've had, when we have sunny days in the wintertime, it's nice because we know we're still producing power. I hope we get some sunlight here soon because, you know, it's not only depressing, but it's costing me money.
Well, energy analysts say you can save money during the winter months by making sure your windows and doors are sealed properly to ensure warm air does not escape.
Time is 7:08 now. We do have a bigger backup at the toll plaza this morning, backed up to the maze, and the metering lights are on. So that's not atypical, but it is backed up for sure. And visibility is good there. Some of the pictures are clouded with fog. Northbound 101 doesn't look too bad getting into San Francisco this morning. And if we go all the way to the South Bay, things are beginning to pick up a little bit there as you drive on the freeways toward the West Valley. At 7:08, let's go back to the desk.
Well, a new report finds the price to fill your car is higher than it should be, while you may be overpaying at the pump, and not just because of taxes and fees.
And it's becoming part of our everyday life, and the people involved are becoming household names. The Silicon Valley technology named as part of Time's Person of the Year this morning.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
Some of the stories we're following this morning: the U.S. has seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. The Trump administration released video of American Coast Guard and Navy troops descending on the ship at sea, taking over the vessel. President Trump told reporters the ship was seized, quote, for a very good reason, but would not give details about why. The ship has previously been sanctioned by the U.S. for being involved with a, quote, illicit oil shipping network. The Federal Reserve cut interest rates for a third straight time. The quarter-point rate cut puts the central bank's key rate at its lowest point in nearly 3 years. Economists hope the lower rate will encourage companies to borrow money for improvements in hiring. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the economy is in a neutral position heading into 2026 and signaled more cuts are not guaranteed. Artificial intelligence taking center stage in Time Magazine's annual Person of the Year. This morning, the magazine announced the architects of AI as the Person of the Year. That includes figures like NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, OpenAI's Sam Altman, and more figures from Silicon Valley. The magazine not only dives deep on companies that are spending record amounts of money on AI, but also the workers building the programs and users who have been impacted by the new software.
Your time now 7:13. California's petroleum watchdog says Golden State residents are being overcharged for gasoline. A new report from the Division of Petroleum Market Oversight says drivers were overcharged by as much as $59 billion by the gas refining industry over the last 10 years. Let's break down what this means with Jamie Court, president of Consumer Watchdog. Jamie, thank you for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
All right, so Jamie, let's start with this. In simple terms, what does this $59 billion overcharge really mean to the rest of us?
Well, it means that California has been an ATM for the rest of the country. We have the watchdog looking at the actual profit margins, the refining margins on the for the profits of the people refining the gasoline in California, and that is what that extra $59 billion represents. It represents the extra refining margins that they made here versus the rest of the country. And we also know that in 22 and 23, they made their biggest margins over $1 a year, both years, which is incredible. That's far greater than anywhere around the rest of the country, or really the world. So we know that the 4 refiners that now control 98% of the market are the problem. There's been great consolidation here. There's no market as consolidated, and there's nowhere that people pay more for gasoline than they do in California.
Okay, and I want to get to the consolidation part in just a moment. But, you know, when we hear about refining gas here in California, I thought, you know, California had a lot of regulations and restrictions on these oil refineries, these gasoline refiners here. So how were they able to get so far ahead with so much money, making all this money, $59 billion?
Well, they don't have much regulation. They have some environmental regulation.
Gotcha. Okay.
But we in 23 we passed some laws to deal with these price gouging problems, and we created this Division of Petroleum Market Oversight. So at least now we have the transparency to know what's going on. Unfortunately, the governor did advocate for a price gouging penalty that penalized the companies for making so much money, but he backed off that plan last year because he was afraid the rest of the refiners would go out of state. And so we have a situation here where we don't have very good regulation of the refining industry, but we have so few refiners, we don't want to push them out of the state. But they're making so much money, I don't see them leaving the state. The good news is that in 24 and 25, after some of these reforms took effect, their profits moderated. We're still paying more for gasoline than we should, but we're not paying as much more. But we do know the big problem is we have these big branded companies that are making an awful lot of money. Chevron, Marathon, these companies are making 70 cents per gallon in margins over the last 10 years. And that's on an average. And in independent stations, they're making about 40 cents per gallon more than they should. But the deal is, if you can find an off-branded gas station, you'll probably pay 30 to 40 cents less in gasoline prices, which is what accounts for those margins. So if you shop around, you might be able to do a little bit better. But overall, branded, unbranded, California is getting hosed at the pump.
Okay, let's go back to how consumers can look out for this. You just touched on a moment ago, branded versus unbranded. So we're talking about like your Chevron gas station versus what, a smaller neighborhood gas station? Can you explain that?
Chevron, an Arco gas station is funded by Marathon. Phillips 66 station is a 76 station. But if you're looking at just the off-brand stations, the Costco's, the unbranded stations, people you've never heard of, they're likely to be 30 to 40 cents less, and you can see that at the pump. I mean, I've seen differentials of $1 at a pump within a mile in Los Angeles. If you look around and use your eyes, you'll be able to find cheaper gasoline. But even that cheaper gasoline comes at a premium in California. Right. We're paying $1.10, $1.20 more for our gasoline than people around the rest of the country. We should be paying, just on our environmental fees and taxes, about 75 cents more. But sometimes we're paying $1.50 more, and that's when the gouging really gets out of hand. So you have to shop around, but even when you shop around, you're not going to get as good a deal as people in those eastern states or in the southeast.
And in the eastern states and southeast, is it because of regulation that they're getting these cheaper gas prices there?
No, they don't have any more or less regulation. What they have, we have environmental regulations that do add to the price of gas, but they help us with greenhouse gases. But that is baked into the price of the gas. Well, what they do in those eastern states is have more competition. They have more places to get gas, and because of the competition, it drives down price. Now, we do have one opening that could help us a lot. Phillips 66 is trying to bring a pipeline in, be the first pipeline to bring refined gas to California. It would come from the Midwest. It would be here by 2029. And if it does that, it'd be about 200,000 gallons of gasoline, which is an awful lot of gasoline, and it would bring competition to the market. I think the other refiners probably aren't going to like that, but it's what this market needs.
All right. Jamie Court, president of Consumer Watchdog, on this pretty stunning report here coming out. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and providing your insight into this. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
Well, speaking of gas and gas prices, if you're out on the road this morning, we want to give you an update on the conditions. Sal Castaneda has it covered.
All right, what kills your gas mileage is idling or being caught in traffic. So you probably already know that. And there's a lot of that going on. This is a look at westbound Interstate 80. You're not driving efficiently when you're in any sort of slow traffic like this. You also see the Bay Bridge is backed up. This is what really kills your mileage. But, you know, you have no choice. You have to go, and a lot of people are stacked up there at the toll plaza. This morning in San Francisco, we don't have any crashes on the Bay Bridge or Skyways, but it is a little bit slow there. And then when you go all the way to San Jose, some of these commutes are getting slower as well. At 7:19, what about today's weather? Here's Devin.
Yeah, Sal, today's weather a lot like yesterday. Nothing new really until we get into next week, but something to keep in mind. We do have our beach hazard statement. It is back. It's going to be with us until about 10 p.m. this evening due to those northwesterly swells. Waves anywhere from 8 to 12 feet. Now, this one can really give you a false sense of security because it can be about a half an hour of very calm activity before we start to see those sneaker waves move in. Reminder to never turn your back to the ocean and to always keep kids and pets within arm's reach distance. Went ahead and highlighted the areas affected up and down the coast in the gray color for you. Let's talk about today. Going to be a while before that fog burns off around the coast, keeping temperatures in those upper 50s. East Bay and North Bay also seeing a later burn off on the fog, probably after 11 a.m., keeping the temps in the low 60s. And then inland, as we've been seeing in Livermore and other parts of the fog, very much socked in there, keeping those temps in the upper 50s. Going to have a nice breeze today, anywhere from 8 to 12 miles per hour throughout the day. Already got about 13 miles per hour in Napa. Pretty calm everywhere else as we go ahead and take a little bit of a look around. A nice warm up. I say warm up, maybe 1 or 2 degrees in comparison to what we experienced yesterday. We've been kind of seeing that trend in the tail end of the week, but it will be a colder weekend. Well, it is not beginning to look a lot like Christmas in the South Lake Tahoe region. No new snow probably until next week. Also, we see the temperatures in the upper 50s headed into the weekend. If you have plans to head up, when things are going to start to change is when we finally get rid of this ridging that's keeping all the moisture in the Pacific Northwest, and they've been experiencing some hazardous weather up there. Keeping the weekend nice and dry. Look at that bell curve, nice and high. Finally, it goes ahead and moves out of our area. We get a nice zonal flow. The high pressure drops out as well, allowing the moisture to start to set in Monday, maybe Tuesday, and then we'll start to get more rain, potentially some high winds the 18th through the 21st. Still working on accumulation and impacts from that storm system. It's a little too soon to tell, but I'll go ahead and step out as we take a nice look at that 5-day forecast. If you want to make plans this weekend, still plenty dry to do so. Andre, Allie.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, it's about to get a little bit easier to get help in an emergency. The new technology that lets 911 dispatchers figure out what's going on as quickly as possible.
Well, KTVU's annual One Warm Coat Drive is underway, and you can help make sure people in need stay warm this winter. Donate a new or gently worn coat by scanning the QR code on your screen, or head to KTVU.com for a list of participating drop-off locations. The One Warm Coat Drive runs until December 14th.
Welcome back to Mornings on 2. This is a live look just as the sun is creeping up over those East Bay hills, shining bright on the city of Oakland and the downtown skyscape there. It's going to be another cold one. You can see a light dusting of clouds there on the left and fog inland, so something to be aware of if you're out hitting the road and getting ready to head outdoors. Well, Google is launching a new safety feature on its Android phones to help during an emergency. Android Emergency Live Video now allows people to stream video when they call 911. During accidents, fires, or medical crises, dispatchers will send a request to your device. You can then opt into sharing your camera's live video. There's no setup required. This feature is built into Android phones running on Android 8 or later.
Where it's so easy to share with your friends images about, via texting apps and things like that. It's great to see that this kind of technology is now going to be coming to emergency response, which is hopefully going to help save lives.
The video is encrypted and users can stop sharing and recording at any point. Depending on local laws, the video may be saved by emergency responders. And so this is the question I had. What's going to happen to that video afterwards?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, because they record your phone calls anyway. And
right, that's public record.
And that's public record because we can request that. Anyone can request a public record from dispatch.
And then it becomes evidence in an investigation.
Exactly.
Possibly.
So does the video also fall into the same line? Details are light on that at the moment, but right now we know that it's being rolled out in certain parts of the U.S. And certain regions in Germany and Mexico at this moment. And the other question is, Google might have rolled this out on Android devices, but are cities already ready to accept.
Dispatchers ready to have that
ready to be able to do
function.
that.
Yeah.
So
No,
a lot of questions, and there's still line on answers at this moment, but we're going to find out for you. All right, now to the story here. At 7:27, Waymo's driverless car can be found across the Bay Area, of course, and the company is showing no signs of slowing down. The big milestone the company just announced.
And an entire country issues new restrictions on social media for children. Why Australia is limiting how much kids can do on the internet and how it's being enforced.
A warning from police in East Contra Costa County. The crime ring spanning across multiple cities along the Highway 4 corridor. Plus.
Now it's been quite slow. Business has been quite slow. Lots of anxiety, of course.
A slow start to the snow season for Lake Tahoe. How Bay Area businesses that depend on ski, snowboard rentals, and sales are adjusting.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
It is 7:30. Welcome to Mornings on 2. I'm Andre Sr.
I'm Allie Rasmus. Today is Thursday, December 11th. It is cold out there. I had the heat cranked up and the defroster when I was coming into work this morning, Devin, and more of the same what we had yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely, Allie. I mean, I think we're at the glove and scarf weather, too, also not just the coats. As we go ahead, let's take a look outside. We can see a nice view of Mount Tam in the background there as we see all that cloud coverage and fog making its way through the Bay Area this morning. Current temperature is still in those low 40s for everyone, especially as we're getting the kids kids ready for school today. Went ahead and highlighted those counties in gray that are currently experiencing dense fog advisory from our Thule fog. Something to be mindful of. It has been impacting visibility on the roadways this morning, though. If you're making that morning commute, finally seeing some visibility improve at Livermore. Believe it or not, we started this morning. They only had about a mile, still at a mile this morning in San Jose. Santa Rosa at half a mile. Something to be mindful of as we go ahead and bring in Sal Castaneda. You've been liking the commute so far, but I know this is kind of the time when things start to change.
They do, and right now we start seeing more slow traffic almost everywhere, Devin. Let's go to the Bay Bridge first to show you that it's backed up all the way out to the Bay. That's not unusual. San Francisco is having a better day than the days past. Even though it is slow, it is a little bit slow in and out of San Francisco. Remember, we've had a couple of adventurous days in the last few. San Mateo Bridge is moderately heavy, and the Dumbarton Bridge is slow all the way across. 7:32. Let's get back to the headlines.
Thank you, Sal. Police in 4 East Bay cities are warning their residents about a string of home burglaries they believe may be connected. KTVU's Tori Gaines is live in Brentwood with details on the story. Good morning to you, Tori.
Good morning to you, Andre. We are in a neighborhood on the east side of Brentwood, and Brentwood is one of the 4 cities that police are saying are being targeted during this string of home burglary, home invasions. And they're also saying that it's a group of teenagers, people under the age of 18, that are mostly responsible for this set of crimes. Now, police say the burglaries seem to be targeting 4 Contra Costa County cities: Pittsburgh, Antioch, Brentwood, and Oakland. Now, you'll notice all 4 of those cities are close to Highway 4, and police say the way this is happening is groups of young people are entering homes through unlocked doors or windows. They then search the homes for keys to vehicles, and several vehicles have then been stolen after those break-ins. And police are encouraging homeowners to keep their keys in less visible areas inside of their homes, and the departments say they are actively investigating these burglaries. Now, back out here live in Brentwood, one thing I've noticed about this particular neighborhood is most of these houses have 2 to 3 cars. The house you're looking at has about 6. So if burglars make their way inside and are easily able to locate keys, it could be a big loss for those residents. So like I said, police are asking their residents to keep their doors locked, particularly sliding glass doors. Check those windows, make sure they're secure as well, so that you hopefully don't fall victim to one of these burglaries. We are live this morning in Brentwood. Tori Gaines, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Tori, thank you. Well, there's a lot happening in the Bay Area and around the world today, so let's get to KTVU's Dave Clark, who's in our newsroom tracking some of this morning's latest stories. Good morning, Dave.
Thank you, Allie, and Andre, thank you. Good morning. Well, there's a new poll out. It just came out this morning. Shows Americans are widely dissatisfied with the way President Trump is handling the economy. The new Associated Press poll says only 31% of adults approve of the way the president is handling the economy. That's the lowest level that number has hit in either his first or second term. The new poll also says the president's approval ratings on handling crime, that has dropped from 53 to 43%. And on immigration, he has dropped from 49% to 38%. Well, today a hearing will be held that could determine how much the public can see during the trial of the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk, the conservative political activist. A judge will decide if cameras will be allowed in the courtroom. Attorneys for the defendant, Tyler Robinson, want to limit the media access, saying all of the attention could affect his right to a fair trial. However, news organizations claim the hearing should stay open to the public. Prosecutors plan to seek the death penalty. And happening today, President Trump will officially launch a new immigration program. It's called the Gold Card. It's an expedited visa that will offer permanent U.S. residency to foreigners who are willing to pay $1 million to the U.S. government. And corporate sponsors can pay $2 million to get a permanent residency status for a key employee. The Trump administration hopes to generate billions of dollars in revenue and attract highly skilled international talent to the U.S. I'm Dave Clark in the KTVU newsroom. Now let's go back to Andre and Allie.
Thank you, Dave. Well, Waymo is touting new ridership numbers, saying it reached a milestone this year, delivering on 14 million trips. That's more than triple the number of public rides the robotaxi company delivered last year. It's on track to serve about 1 million rides a week by the end of 2026. The company says in order to hit that goal, it plans to expand to 20 more cities. Last month, Waymo launched public service to and from the San Jose airport, marking the first airport in California to provide Waymo rides.
This is my first time in San Jose using it, yes. Yeah. In terms of Waymo, I find that still a little bit lacking in terms of number of cars on the road. I just took it in LA, and they're plentiful in LA, and that was really, really convenient.
Waymo's rapid growth has come with some hiccups this week. A viral video showed 3 of the robo-taxis stuck in the middle of a San Francisco street. Federal transportation officials also announced a software recall for about 3,000 Waymos after video came out showing them illegally passing stopped school buses in various cities.
Palo Alto city officials are celebrating the second phase of a project combining flood protection and restoration of the Bay shoreline. They're building a horizontal levee near the Baylands Trail to help adapt to sea level rise. Unlike traditional levees, which use steep walls and boulders, this levee is longer with a gradual slope. Crews installed about 2,000 plants covering 35 different species to transform the area into its own preserve.
We're doing a lot of studies on this project and sharing what information we can with anybody who wants it, quite frankly, in the hopes that other people can install these systems elsewhere.
In the next phase, the city will pump treated wastewater through the levee to irrigate the plants. The project is expected to be completed in mid-time next year.
In the Bay Area, some cities have been blanketed in cold and foggy conditions for weeks, but up at Lake Tahoe, there is still no snow. It's causing anxiety for pass holders and ski shops. So far this season, the UC Berkeley Central Sierra Snow Lab has recorded only 22 inches. That's less than half the amount researchers normally see by early December. Business at one shop is down 23% now.
Still a bit upbeat about it. I was looking at some historical data the other day, and typically when we have Decembers like this, in these low snow years, we actually see a huge increase in snow throughout like January through March.
It's been unusually cold and foggy in some parts of the Bay. According to our meteorology team, the dry conditions in the Sierra and the cold, foggy weather here are connected.
You know, it's so cold down here, it seems like it'd be, pretty good weather up there, but I guess not.
Yeah, we saw Devin earlier was showing kind of the high pressure patterns, and all that goes together and influences weather here and in the Sierra.
All right, Sal, take it away.
All right, Andre and Allie, right now we do have slowing on 880 South. If you are driving, let's say, from 238 heading out south to Fremont, this is your commute from about 238 all the way down to about Stevenson. San Mateo and Dumbarton Bridge are busy this morning, and at the Bay Bridge, we do have a backup that stretches beyond the maze. The fog is preventing us from seeing a lot of the cameras, but now that the sun is up, it might be a little easier for you to see in some of these areas. 7:39. Let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. Well, credit card debt not expected to spike as sharply in 2026 as it did in years past, but there are some other challenges on the horizon. And we're going to talk more about that with an expert from TransUnion when you join us at 8.
So this morning, we are asking, what's your biggest financial priority heading into the new year? And here are your options: paying down debt, saving more, or cutting expenses. And right now, 61% of you say cutting expenses, 29% say saving more, and 10% say paying down debt. Just go to KTVU.com/vote. Let us know what you think about our question this morning.
And all 3 of those things are challenging when you're dealing with the rising cost of things.
I want to do all 3 of them, but, we'll see if I can get to even one of them.
It's hard to prioritize. As we go to break, one more look at that poll. You can scan the QR code on the top right corner, and that will take you to our poll, and you can weigh in. We'll talk more about this coming up. Here's some of the stories we're following for you this morning. Much of the Pacific Northwest is being hit hard by a major storm. It's led to flooding across the entire region. The governor of Washington has declared a statewide emergency. Evacuations have been ordered as rivers spill over their banks. Forecasters say one river north of Seattle could peak more than 5 feet higher than its record level. Workers at San Francisco General are demanding more security after last week's deadly stabbing of a social worker at the hospital. The ward where the stabbing happened does not have a metal detector. Now one union wants a security review and increased safety measures, saying they've requested them, quote, time and time again from management. And hundreds of people paid tribute to Laney College athletic director and former football coach John Beam last night. Nearly 1,000 people walked the path Beam took countless times as he headed to work each day. Those taking part carried bags lit with candles to honor and pay tribute to Coach Beam. He was shot and killed on the campus last month. And Time Magazine unveiled its Person of the Year, and it's actually a group of people and companies. Pam Cook has the details on that and the stocks to watch in today's Dollars and Cents. Pam.
Stock to watch and Time Magazine all related. The tech stocks are taking the markets down this morning, led by Oracle. The software company issued a disappointing earnings report. The stock dropped about 13% right when the opening bell rang this morning. Analysts say it's raising concerns about how long it will take for the tech companies to see returns on their investments in AI. And speaking of AI, Time Magazine rang that opening bell this morning to reveal the 2025 Person of the Year. The Person of the Year is a person or group who had the most influence on the year. And this year, no surprise, AI. The architects of AI. Time is recognizing the contributions of many Bay Area companies and people in particular. On that little screen on the left there, you can see the cover of the magazine includes NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, Fei-Fei Li, professor and co-director of the Stanford University Institute for Human-Centered AI, Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Meta, and Lisa Su, CEO of AMD, and Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI. All right, so we take a live look at the numbers. The Dow is soaring, so that's is not comprised of those big tech companies for the most part. It is those 30 blue chip stocks. It's up 457 points, almost a full percentage point. Opposite picture over in the NASDAQ, down almost a full percentage point, 207-point drop there. The S&P 500 also down about 0.25%. Mexico approved sweeping new tariffs on imported goods from China and several other Asian nations. The legislation imposes duties up to 50% on more than 1,400 product categories. Key imports like vehicles, auto parts, steel, and textiles are among the products facing increased rates starting in January. Mexico President Claudia Sheinbaum says the measure is to protect domestic jobs and boost local industries. Others suggest the move was also made to align with trade policies in the United States. NVIDIA developing new tracking software for its AI graphic processing units. The move comes after lawmakers on Capitol Hill called for this type of feature to help enforce controls over exported chips. Now, the new feature will allow users to monitor any unusual usage patterns. The move comes because of concerns about national security if China can use U.S.-made AI chips. Currently, the U.S. still bars China and other countries from buying NVIDIA's most advanced AI chips. YouTube announced it's rolling out new, cheaper subscription plans next year. The streaming service is launching more than 10 genre-specific plans. They will cost less per month than YouTube TV's base plan of $82.99 a month for more than 100 channels. One of the new bundles will be a sports plan with add-on services available. Other plans will center on news, family, and entertainment content. I'm Pam Cook. That's a look at your dollars and cents.
Thank you, Pam. Well, Australia is now the first country to ban social media for teens under the age of 16. The new ban, which went into effect yesterday, restricts sites including Facebook, Instagram, Kik, Reddit, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, and more. More than 200,000 accounts were deactivated, with more coming in the next few days. Companies that don't comply can face a $32 million fine.
We know that social media is causing social harm. And one of the issues that I as Prime Minister get all the time is asked about questions of national security. There is nothing more important than keeping our young Australians safe now and into the future.
Our goals are, as much as we can, to
protect the benefits of social connection and technology while also better understanding and decreasing the risks, particularly for vulnerable populations, children and adolescents.
And many other nations are watching closely. They're also considering similar laws, including France, Denmark, and New Zealand. Time now is 7:48. Sal Castaneda has an update on our traffic. How's it look out there, Sal?
It looks all right, but there is a problem in San Jose I want to talk about, Allie. Northbound 280 at the Lawrence Expressway. We have a crash there, and that's beginning to affect all the traffic, not only on 280, but also on 880 heading south away from the airport. 280 is slow. They have to clean up a bunch of debris that was on the freeway. Now, there's an empty spot in the San Jose commute, but most of it is slow from 101 all the way up to the Lawrence Expressway, and a lot of people are using 85 to get around the problem. So that's what's happening there in the South Bay. Let's talk about the East Bay commute, where we have the usual slowdowns on the East Shore Freeway from San Pablo into Oakland, and at the Bay Bridge, we are backed up all the way out to the Maze. 7:49. Let's bring in Devin Truby with today's weather.
Yeah, good morning, Sal. We might need to consider changing some holiday lyrics from White Christmas to Gray Christmas at this point in time, because that's really all we've been seeing so far in the month of December. One thing I do want to put on your radar, we do have our beach hazard statement that's in effect until about 10 p.m. on Friday evening. This can really give you a false sense of security, because you could see some nice, calm waves for about a half an hour before you get those sneaker waves that move in anywhere from 8 to 12 feet. Reminder, never turn your back on the ocean. Always keep kids and pets within arm's reach distance. Went ahead and highlighted the areas experiencing that warning in the gray on the map for you. Let's talk about your day today. Fog going to be sticking around the coast, keeping those temps in the upper 50s. Later burn off for the North Bay, East Bay, probably a little bit around 11 a.m. Going to keep those temperatures in the low 60s, and we've been seeing that fog also inland, especially places like Livermore, keeping the temps just below 60. Expecting a nice breeze today, about 8 to 12 miles per hour. Already seeing about 13 in Napa, but pretty calm everywhere else. This should pick up a little later in the day after your lunch hour. A little bit warmer today than what we experienced yesterday. We've been seeing it go up a few degrees, kind of starting around Wednesday and then pushing towards today. So that is a little bit of a break. When we've been talking about it, not a lot of snow in Tahoe. In fact, some of the Bay Area cities have actually been experiencing temperatures lower than what we've seen earlier in the week. We saw South Lake Tahoe in the 60s. Now we're looking at about the 50s as we head into the weekend for anyone who has plans to go up. Things are a-changing, though. So right now we've got this nice ridge keeping all the moisture in the Pacific Northwest, as they've been experiencing some hazardous weather up there. That's going to continue to be the case for the weekend. We got a nice strong bell curve there, keeping the moisture out. However, as we move into Monday, that flattens out. We got a nice zonal flow moving that moisture into California, maybe Monday, early Tuesday morning hours. However, the rain will start to pick up, and the wind as we make our way for the 18th and the 21st. Still tracking that out for you and still trying to decide how much accumulation we might get from that system as it makes its way over to us. Taking a look at the 5-day forecast, a dry and clear weekend, and hey, even those mid to upper 60s on Saturday. It's looking real nice, Andre.
All right, Devin, thank you so much. 7:51 now, bringing peace and unity to the city of Stockton. How a nonprofit created after a Texas school shooting plans to provide solace following that mass shooting that claimed the lives of several children. And the program that is hoping to bridge a funding gap for Bay Area children facing medical issues during this holiday season. 7:54 is your time. Animal rights activists held a vigil outside the Sonoma County Jail before fellow activists surrendered to serve a 90-day sentence. Zoe Rosenberg was found guilty of entering a Petaluma Poultry, that's the name of the company, and taking some chickens in June of 2023. Petaluma Poultry said it was a coordinated effort to unlawfully enter the plant to steal property and data, but Rosenberg says the chickens are not treated well and denied basic care.
Every single animal suffering in these facilities is an individual with a personality and a life and feelings. They are denied basic care. They never get any sort of medical care. They are left to slowly die on a floor of feces when they get sick or develop an injury or a disability.
Petaluma Poultry denies any abuse against chickens. Advocates are calling on the governor to pardon Rosenberg. She has diabetes, and they say it's possible that she may be able to serve 60 of the 90 days under house arrest instead. Bay Area nonprofit that helps the families of critically ill children is asking the community for help. The organization There With Care helps families stay at the bedsides of their children who are sick by giving them basic necessities like groceries, toiletries, and gas. But program officials say inflation and cuts to social services, along with increased demand, has left it about $250,000 short. So they're reaching out to volunteers and donors for help.
Really just rely on going back to them for more support to help really bridge the gap of what the families need without having to cut back on what we provide.
There With Care has served thousands of families since it was created. If you're interested in volunteering or donating, you can find more information on the organization's website. Well, the San Francisco 49ers back on the practice field following a bye week. On Sunday, the Niners will host the Tennessee Titans. Right now, the NFC West is still very much up for grabs, which means this final stretch is crucial. The Niners used the bye week to rest up ahead of making this final playoff push with just 4 games left in the regular season.
I think when you look at the bye early in the year, you're kind of dreading it. You know, you got to go 13 straight or whatever it is. But now that it's done and, you know, it's happened at the end of the year and getting some guys back and getting healthy again, it's a blessing in disguise.
Sometimes, you know, an early bye could backfire too. You know, you gotta, especially if you want to be a playoff team and make a deep run. You know, it's a long season if you get an early bye.
Kicker Eddie Pinheiro returned to practice yesterday. He strained his right hamstring last month and sat out 2 games. He says the bye week gave him some much-needed time to get healthy, and he plans to play Sunday against the Titans. Kickoff, by the way, is at 1:25. Bay FC formally introducing the team's newest head coach. Emma Coates will be leading the team in their 3rd season. She most recently coached England's under-23 team. She led them to an undefeated championship season in the European League in 2024. Coates says she'll work hard to make Bay FC fans proud of their team.
We're obsessed with the process of winning, and the culture that we develop will be that balance between people bringing the best version of themselves to the club day in, day out, whilst driving for success and brilliance in every single thing that we do.
Coates is replacing coach Alberto Montoya, who led Bay FC to a playoff berth in their inaugural season, but clashed with players last season over his coaching style. A public library in Hawaii introducing the newest member of their team, a robot. This advanced android is designed to help guests with basic navigation, engage in friendly conversation, and provide entertainment, especially for children. The library system in Honolulu received a $25,000 grant to acquire this piece of tech that they view as a valuable expansion of their services.
Libraries are more than just collections of books. We're starting to have collections of things, and that includes technology. If we have technology that helps us do some of the basic work, or gives us an opportunity to create services when we're not available, I think it's a wonderful thing, because then it's better services for everybody. So we see it as a way of expanding, not contracting.
There are future plans to integrate AI software into the robot and partner with schools to expand its program capabilities. 7:59 now. The Oakland Unified School District at risk of getting taken over by the state. Administrators going over their budget problems. We break down the numbers. Plus,
we love you. We will never stop mentioning your name. Oakland and Laney College will never be the same without you.
one more tribute to John Beam, the emotional farewell from Laney College to one of its most beloved figures.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Welcome to Mornings on 2 at 8 o'clock. You're looking live across the Oakland estuary, and it's something that we just can't beat back. The fog is still causing a problem all the way up in Chico, all the way down to Bakersfield, and points in between. On top of that, we got cold weather, too. It is making for a dreary autumn just before winter. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andre Sr.
I'm Allie Rasmus. Today is Thursday, December 11th, and the picture outside doesn't really paint the full picture of how chilly the air is out there. But that sunshine, well, this one tells a better story. I believe that's a San Jose camera, San Jose 101.
You can tell? I can't even see.
You can barely make it out.
Yeah.
Only because I'm familiar with all these traffic cameras. I can kind of keep an eye out for that. But definitely a mixed weather picture out there. So let's find out more from Devin Truby.
Yeah, absolutely. Gray seems to be the message on repeat, and cold, unfortunately, too, as we take another look at all that dense cloud coverage and fog this morning. Believe it or not, there's a city under there as we take a look at current temperatures. Everybody's still sitting in the 40s. Warm up much later today. Went ahead and highlighted the counties impacted by that dense fog advisory, the Tule fog, on your screen in gray, and it has been impacting visibility. As Allie pointed out, the San Jose camera, that's down to about 1 mile if you're making that morning commute. Livermore has improved to about 4 miles, Fairfield 2.5, and Santa Rosa only half a mile. So definitely something to be mindful of as we bring in Sal Castaneda now. Sal, you also having some issues with the cameras with all the fog.
A lot of them, some of them are just completely fogged in, so we're just going to have to use our maps. Devin, you know those maps. This is a look at the camera we can see, though. It's slow from San Pablo as you head out to the MacArthur Maze, and the Bay Bridge is backed up from 580-24, so that's a 30-minute delay. San Francisco has had a couple of tough days. It's slow today. It's not affected by crashes, but it's pretty slow, especially when you start getting around this area here in San Francisco, 101, 280. That's going to be super slow as you drive through. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the South Bay commute. I have something I need to follow up on, and we'll come back in just a few. But now at 8:01, let's go back to the desk.
All right, Sal, thank you so much. Oakland school board members need to cut $100 million from its budget before next school year. If not, they risk once again facing a state takeover. KTVU's James Torres here in studio now with a discussion between school leaders and what parents and students say they want to see in their next budget, James.
Andre, the Oakland Unified School District only recently escaped state receivership, and the board is now struggling to figure out how to cut down on its $100 million budget deficit. Some ideas include cuts to central office, which would save about $21 million. There were also mentions of cutting close to $12 million in special education resources. We heard from a group of students and parents from Skyline High School. They spoke to those board members, asking them to prioritize the budget for student safety and security. That's after a shooting on campus last month. The interim superintendent also proposed cutting $32 million in school sites, which advocates from Skyline say they hope that doesn't mean safety and security.
And I think that putting out a big stand from Skyline that we want to make sure there aren't any cuts to safety, because we need the people up there. We need the culture keepers. We need the extra security at making sure that our kids are safe from outsiders coming to the school, making sure the kids go to class.
The ideas brought forth by Interim Superintendent Denise Sadler also relied on a 2% increase in attendance to add to its revenue, though the parents from Skyline warned without a sense of safety, attendance would continue to decline. The board voted to further consider the superintendent's plan, but the district needs to make those decisions and those cuts by the 2026-27 school year. Allie.
Thank you, James. Well, happening today, San Francisco school leaders there plan to talk about their own $100 million budget deficit. As part of tonight's meeting, leaders will talk about current funding available and planned cuts for the next school year. Right now, the district faces a $103 million budget deficit. The superintendent of San Francisco Unified says more cuts will be necessary. Classes are resuming this morning at the West Contra Costa Unified School District. It's the first day back to normal following an almost week-long strike by the teachers there. The union and the district reached a tentative agreement early Wednesday morning. Under that agreement, educators will get a 5% pay increase the first year and a 3% increase their second year of the contract. The district will also pay each employee's health care plan through 2027. Although teachers are back, the new contract still must be approved by the school board and union members.
At 4 minutes after 8 now, communities in Oakland continue to honor the life and legacy of Laney College football coach John Beam. Last night, nearly 1,000 people gathered on the college campus for a memorial walk that ended at the football stadium. People used candles to write the word "Believe" on the field. Last month, Beam was shot on campus and died the next day. We talked with people about the profound impact he had on so many students.
If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have gone to college. If it weren't for him, my son wouldn't be going to college to play football and receive a free education.
He saw potential when others saw problems. He saw resilience where others saw struggle. And he built a culture where young men learned discipline, accountability, and self-worth.
A celebration of life will be held January 10th. The man accused of killing Beam is due back in court next week. A nonprofit from Texas created after the deadly school shooting in the city of Uvalde is stepping in to help the community in Stockton that's reeling from a recent mass shooting. The Youth Peace and Justice Foundation announced a ceasefire meeting between gangs in Stockton in direct response to the shooting that killed 4 people, including 3 children. The group says no law enforcement will attend, but community leaders will be present. No suspect has been identified in the shooting. Investigators have assured people they can share information and remain anonymous.
Waymo is touting new ridership numbers, saying it reached a milestone this year, delivering 14 million trips. That's more than triple the number of rides the robotaxi company had last year. It's on track to provide 1 million rides a week by the end of 2026. The company says in order to hit that goal, though, it plans to expand to 20 more cities. Last month, Waymo launched public service to and from the San Jose airport, marking the first airport in California to provide Waymo rides.
This is my first time in San Jose using it, yes. Yeah. In terms of Waymo, I find that still a little bit lacking in terms of number of cars on the road. I just took it in LA, and they're plentiful in LA, and that was really, really convenient.
Waymo's rapid growth has come with some hiccups, though. This week, a viral video showed 3 of the robotaxis stuck in the middle of a San Francisco street. Federal transportation officials also announced a software recall for about 3,000 Waymos after video came out showing them illegally passing stopped school buses in multiple cities.
It's 8:07, and right now we do see some places that don't have fog, like this place here, the East Shore Freeway. It looks pretty good heading out to the San Pablo area. The camera looks good. It's slow from San Pablo to Oakland. You can see the Bay Bridge is still backed up to the maze, so we still have kind of bigger backups. And San Francisco is kind of a mess. Now, I promised I'd show you San Jose. Because of an earlier crash northbound 280 at the Lawrence Expressway, 280's been taking a beating this morning. Again, that camera's too fogged in for me to show you, but 280's very slow, and so is 85. That one crash kind of in the middle of it all has made it so. And then there's another crash, northbound 85 at El Camino Real. So northbound 85 is also taking it on the chin, trying to get up to Mountain View. So not a great day in the South Bay so far. 8:08, let's go back to the desk.
All right, Sal. Happening today, the Bay Area Host Committee is ramping up preparations for Super Bowl 60. The football championship game that will be played at Levi Stadium in February is now just 2 months away. And to celebrate the official 60-day countdown, the Host Committee is having a speaker series event featuring a panel of local leaders, media personalities, and 49er players. The program will highlight the positive impact of having the big game in our region and include the presentation of the inaugural BAHC Impact Awards.
Well, Time magazine names its Person of the Year. And in years past, this title's gone to presidents, freedom fighters, and philanthropists. But we'll explain why this year's winner is like no other.
And credit card debt for Americans is expected to go up next year, but there is a caveat. We'll talk to a credit card reporting agency about next year's forecast and why there is much more behind the numbers.
Jacoby & Myers has been a proud part of the California community since 1972. We've stood by our neighbors, helping hundreds of thousands of families get the justice they deserve. Whether it's fighting insurance companies or fighting for you in court, we'll stand up for you. At Jacoby & Myers, we know the stakes: your family, your health, your future. For over 50 years, we've been California's trusted name in legal care. If you've been injured, call us today at 1-800-5-MILLION, because you deserve justice.
Artificial intelligence taking center stage in Time Magazine's annual Person of the Year. This morning, the magazine announced the architects of AI are the Person of the Year. That includes figures like NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, OpenAI's Sam Altman, and more figures from Silicon Valley. The magazine not only dives deep on the companies that are spending record amounts on AI, but also the workers building the programs and users who've been affected by the new software. The Federal Reserve cut interest rates for a third straight time. The quarter-point rate cut puts the central bank's key rate at its lowest point in nearly 3 years. Economists hope the lower rate will encourage companies to borrow money for improvements and hiring. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the economy is in a neutral position heading into 2026 and signaled more cuts are not guaranteed.
All right, let's stay on the same issue of finances here. The Consumer Credit Reporting Agency TransUnion projecting that credit card balances will tick up next year. It is the smallest hike in more than a decade, excluding the first year of the pandemic. Joining us to talk about this forecast and reasons for the smaller increase is Michelle Ranieri, Vice President and Head of U.S. Research and Consulting at TransUnion. Michelle, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so you have the inside scoop here. So credit card debt expected to see its smallest hike. I suppose it's good news, right?
It is. In addition to the credit cards having a smaller increase for next year, we're seeing that consumers in 2026 are going to pay their bills about the same as they did in 2025. And the reason that that's significant is that from the COVID credit cycle that we've seen in the last several years, we saw that consumers got stimulus money and they paid down a lot of their credit with that. But then as they got out and took vacations and spent more money for a while, they started running out of some of that money, and delinquencies year over year really increased. And so we've had a lot of whiplash over the last several years. But last year, we saw some stability, not knowing if it was a trend or just a point in time. We waited until we saw the forecast for 2026, and now we're feeling like it's a trend, which also signals that we're approaching the end, if not at the end, of the COVID credit cycle.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about what it could mean for folks who might be in the market for a home. What's the forecast say about mortgages, rates, that type of thing for next year?
Yeah, so as the interest rates are decreasing, particularly for card, which consumers don't have to do anything to get the advantage of, right? So they will automatically get the advantage checking your account. You'll be able to see that interest rates will start to fall as a result of the interest rate decreasing. But for auto and for mortgage, if you already have one, you can refinance. A lot of times people don't realize that you can refinance an auto just like you can a mortgage, and you can chase that interest rate down so that you can get the benefit of it. But it does take some work, and it means that you have to take the initiative and look for the better rate, not like you do with card where you automatically get it.
That is interesting. So you can just kind of do your own research to see what, if you can find another auto loan with a lower interest rate and just dive right into it to save some money.
You can, or you can contact your lender and see if they have another offer that they can do for you at that time. So it's a win-win for everybody in that case.
All right, so for people feeling the squeeze right now, I want to get to this, especially those with lower credit scores. What are the smartest financial moves that they can make right now heading into the new year?
I think the best thing that people can do is to get to know their credit and their credit score. So you can go to transunion.com, look at your credit report, and look at your credit score to start as a baseline, to know where you're at right now, and then monitor it, or if you don't want to watch it every month, take a look again in about 3 months and think about what you've done with your credit recently, and if you've run up your credit more, or if you've been paying it down, and how does that influence your credit score? And that way, when you want to go get a new auto or a new mortgage, you're armed with that information instead of showing up there, finding out what your credit score is and feeling like, oh, I wanted it to be better, and now scrambling to do something to improve it.
The first step is just taking a look at it, and then you can start to formulate a plan on how to go and attack that. What should viewers avoid doing with their credit, especially of all this talk here of possibly tightening of the economy? We haven't seen that yet, but what should viewers be doing now besides checking their credit score as we head into the new year?
So the most important thing that you can do is pay your bills on time. So that means don't be a day late. That means don't pay part of what your minimum due is, because both of those just mean that you're late. So those will impact your score negatively. The other thing that's the second most important is not to max out your credit. So if you have a $2,000 credit card, don't use the entire $2,000. You want to keep that amount that you spend in your balance lower so that you don't impact your credit score and that you can help it to increase.
All right. Michelle Ranieri from TransUnion, thank you for joining us and providing some insight onto how to watch out and kind of keep on top of our credit coming into the new year. It's a lot of what many people want here is to get financial stability in their life, and it's a good time to start. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. The issue of credit card debt is our question of the day. We're asking, what's your biggest financial priority heading into the new year? Your options: paying down debt, saving more, or cutting expenses. And right now, 51% of you say cutting expenses, 28% of you say saving more, and 21% of you say paying down debt. Just scan the QR code in the top right-hand corner of your screen or go to KTVU.com/vote. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, top of mind for a lot of folks as we wrap up the holiday shopping season the next couple of weeks. Let's switch gears, though, and talk about traffic this morning. Sal Castaneda, did the roads look okay?
They look okay. South Bay is a little bit slow, Allie. Northbound 280, they had a crash at Lawrence Expressway. They got it out of the lanes. There was a crash northbound 85 near El Camino in Sunnyvale area. That's going to be slow as well. If you're driving on 880 South or 680 South, we had the traditional slowing there heading south toward the South Bay. And then if you're driving to the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza, we have a backup that stretches all the way out to the Maze. 818, let's bring Devin Truby back.
Well, Sal, we can see the sun is really trying to peek out in a couple of places across the Bay Area, but it's still going to be a while before we see it at the coast. But hey, if you are at the beach today, beach hazards alert in effect until Friday at 10 p.m. Something to be mindful of. It can look very calm out there for even as long as a half an hour, and then those sneaker waves anywhere from 8 to 12 feet can really catch you off guard. A reminder, never turn your back on the ocean. Always keep kids and pets within arm's reach distance. Went ahead and highlighted the areas impacted by that in gray here on the map for you. Let's go ahead and talk about your day now. That fog going to be lingering along the coast, keeping those temperatures in upper 50s. Some spots a little bit colder than that. Burn off going to be a little bit later today as we're kind of working through that. And with the cloud coverage kind of in and out around the bay, we'll see the low 60s. And inland, definitely probably upper 50s, few spots. Going to have a nice breeze today, about 8 to 12 miles per hour across the area. Kind of starting to get there in a few places like Napa, but otherwise pretty calm for most everything. A couple degrees warmer today than what we experienced yesterday. That's kind of been the trend. We've been going up a few degrees each day. Going to go back down for the weekend, though, unfortunately. So let's enjoy that today. Temperatures, however, if you're going up to South Lake Tahoe, these are about anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees above the average. So that's somewhere where it might even be warm than some of our Bay Area cities, believe it or not, up there. Temperatures are about to change, though, as we go ahead and take a look at what's coming up. Right now, we got this nice ridge in place. It's keeping all that moisture in the Pacific Northwest. As we go ahead and play it out, it's going to be like that for the weekend as well. Nice little bell curve there, making a very cold, dry weekend. But all that changes. We make our way into Monday and Tuesday. Moisture starts to move into the state of California for us. And we got that nice little zonal flow. High pressure drops out of the system. And this is going to be impacting us for Monday, maybe a little bit into Tuesday. That'll be the lighter rain. Heavier rain and even some high winds. We're playing around with the idea between the 18th and the 21st. Still waiting to see what kind of system moves in and also what type of accumulation we might get from that. We'll probably have a better idea as we make our way towards the end of the weekend on that. Other than that, we take a look at the 5-day forecast. We can see we got a little bit of a nice Saturday on tap for us. But other than that, still very cold, still very gray. More of the same. Andre, Alley.
All right, thank you so much. An update on the East Bay man accused of a mid-air emergency. New police surveillance video after his arrest and his explanation for allegedly trying to shut off a plane's engine while it was in the air.
And bringing Hollywood to the Bay Area, what city leaders in San Francisco want to do to encourage more TV and movie production in the city.
Oh, you've likely noticed it, right? If you live east of the Caldecott Tunnel, it has been really foggy and cloudy for the last few days. So much so, the fog has been visible from space. Yes, this time-lapse video put together by Colorado State researchers showing for the last 16 days, the Central Valley has been shrouded in Tule fog. At times, that fog stretches all the way from Chico down past Bakersfield and stretches into the Delta and the East Bay as well.
And of course, that foggy weather means less sunlight for solar panels. That means higher energy bills for some. One homeowner says the lack of sunlight means his solar panels are producing 50% less power on those foggy days compared to what he typically sees. He says he hasn't seen his energy bill just yet, but he's not looking forward to it.
Going to be probably a little shocked. Not going to be a happy camper. This is unusual to have fog this long, for sure. Yeah, we've had, when we have sunny days in the wintertime, it's nice because we know we're still producing power. I hope we get some sunlight here soon because, you know, it's not only depressing, but it's costing me money.
Well, you can save money during the winter by making sure your windows and doors are sealed properly so that warm air does not escape.
25 minutes after 8. Lights, camera action, hopefully, at least for San Francisco. It plans to bring more of Hollywood to the Bay Area.
And tech stocks are taking the markets down this morning. Pam Cook has the details in today's dollars and cents. Keeping an eye on all of it.
Yes, drop in NASDAQ. Because of a familiar name here in the Bay Area, Oracle, the software company, issued a disappointing earnings report. The stock dropped about 13% when that opening bell rang this morning. And analysts say it's raising concerns about how long it will take for these tech companies to see a return on their huge investments in AI. AI is the person of the year. Time magazine rang that opening bell this morning. As we've been reporting, they unveiled the 2025 person of the year. It is the architects of AI, and many Bay Area companies and people are being recognized with that distinction. On the cover, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang, Professor Fei-Fei Li, co-director of the Stanford University Institute for Human-Centered AI, Mark Zuckerberg of Meta, Lisa Su of AMD, and Sam Altman of OpenAI, all part of this surge into AI. As we take a live look at the markets, the Dow Jones is surging. It is the one index that is doing well, those blue chips, up about 500 points this morning, 1 full percentage point. But the NASDAQ is down 1%. 247 points, as the NASDAQ is made up mostly of those tech stocks. The S&P 500, also where a lot of our retirement money is, that index is down 1/3%. California high school seniors are once again receiving early notices for state's premier financial aid grant. Nearly 80,000 students who have already applied for aid are receiving those preliminary eligibility alerts after a 3-year pause due to federal delays. The Cal Grant is money that can potentially cover full tuition at a CSU or a UC and does not need to be repaid. So the students are getting that good news. A nonprofit fund to help build affordable homes in San Francisco is getting a big boost. The Housing Accelerator Fund announced it raised an additional $50 million for its Bay Area Housing Innovation Fund. That doubles its total investment to $100 million. The money will help finance and build more than 1,000 affordable homes in the next 2 years. And San Francisco is looking to bring more film and television productions to the city. The Board of Supervisors President Raphael Mandelman proposed boosting the city's tax incentives for filmmakers. Production companies that spend at least $500,000 locally and film 5 or more days in San Francisco could qualify for some rebates, including up to 20% back on local spending. The production companies could also get a rebate on things like permits and police. A final vote is expected early next year. I'm Pam Cook. That's a look at your dollars and cents.
All right, Pam, thank you much. The Grinches trying to steal Christmas packages stopped in their tracks. The traffic stop leading San Mateo police to nab suspected porch pirates.
And a controversial decision by the Alameda County District Attorney. She wants to drop the charges against a former police officer accused in a deadly shooting several years ago. But the family of the man who was killed say they plan to make sure the issue does not go away. Their response coming up. A group of burglars breaking into homes across Contra Costa County. It's led to police in 4 cities issuing a joint safety warning about it, the tactics the young burglars are accused of using to avoid getting caught. First Australia, now other countries considering restricting the use of social media among young people. We'll talk with the South Bay tech analyst about the ban.
From KTVU Fox 2 News, this is Mornings on 2.
Welcome back to Mornings on 2. I'm Allie Rasmus.
I'm Andre Sr. It is Thursday, December 11th, another cold one, but we do have sun along the Oakland estuary, but we do have fog in other areas. And we're also hearing some areas just haven't seen the sun in several days because of all that fog. Devin Truby in the Weather Center. Tracking it out for us.
That is absolutely right, Andre. It is very unfortunate for those areas that haven't been seeing the sun. Here's something we don't often see. The shadow of the Sutro Tower reflected in the cloud coverage and up above the fog. Now, with this type of dense fog, the Thule fog, we actually get temperature inversion. So up at the top where the blue sky is above the fog, it can actually be upwards of 10 degrees warmer there than the temperatures we're experiencing on the ground, just based on the type of fog. A very interesting view this morning as we go ahead and take a look at those temperatures. Everybody's still in the low 40s. Unfortunately, highlighted that dense fog advisory in the gray on the map for those counties impacted. Going to be a late burn off for some. As we take a look at visibility on the roadways, Santa Rosa is still at about a half mile this morning. San Jose is still a mile as well. Livermore has improved as the morning has gone along. So has Fairfield. Let's get out to Sal Castaneda to see how that commute is treating you, though.
All right, we do have improvement there, Devin. I like what I see here. Let's go right to the Bay Bridge. And it's not backed up to the maze. It's backed up to about the end of that parking lot, so I like it. You can see that traffic is going to be a little bit better on the bridge as well. You can also see that if you're driving in San Francisco, there's a lot of slow traffic on 101. Northbound 101 near Cesar Chavez, there's a stalled vehicle there. Look at all that slow traffic. And Silicon Valley's kind of a mess. 85, 280, 85 in Sunnyvale at El Camino Real had that long-standing crash. Well, that is backed up well into Cupertino. If you're going to be driving anywhere in that area, you might be upset, and give yourself plenty of extra time. 8:33, let's go back to the desk.
Thank you, Sal. Well, police in 4 East Bay cities are warning their residents about a string of home burglaries they believe may be connected. KTVU's Tori Gaines joins us live from Brentwood this morning with what we know so far about these burglaries. Tori?
Good morning to you, Allie. We are on the east side of Brentwood in some pretty beautiful neighborhoods, if I'm honest. I'll take a step out of the frame so you can see just behind me. Lots of big, beautiful homes, lots of vehicles. And this is one of the 4 cities that police say have been hit by this string of home burglaries. Police believe a group of teens under the age of 18 are responsible for them. Now, police also say the burglaries seem to be targeting 4 Contra Costa County cities: Pittsburgh, Antioch, Brentwood, and Oakland. You will notice all 4 of those cities are close to Highway 4. Now, police say groups of young people are entering homes through unlocked doors or windows. They then search the homes for keys to vehicles, and several vehicles have been stolen after these break-ins, and police are encouraging homeowners to keep their keys in less visible areas inside of their homes. Now, we spoke with a Brentwood homeowner earlier this morning, and she says her and her neighbors are looking out for each other. Back out here live. As you can see, this is a common thing we have seen around these neighborhoods. Many have multiple cars, sometimes 3, sometimes as many as 6. So if someone breaks into that home, gets a hold of those car keys, it's a big loss for a single family. Now, police are also asking residents to ensure that they lock their doors, particularly their sliding glass doors and their windows, especially overnight. Now, one of the neighbors we spoke to, she says the way they've been taking care of each other through situations like this is by being vigilant. They keep an eye out on each other. They notice the new cars that are coming, so they recommend doing that in your neighborhood too. We're live this morning in Brentwood. Tori Gaines, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Tori, thank you. It is 8:36. The family of a man shot and killed by San Leandro police fighting to keep his court case alive. Stephen Taylor was killed in April of 2020 in San Leandro. Investigators say former police officer Jason Fletcher shot Taylor inside of a Walmart while Taylor was holding a baseball bat. He was reportedly suffering a mental crisis at the time. Well, now Alameda County DA Ursula Jones-Dixon wants to throw out the charge of voluntary manslaughter, saying there isn't enough evidence backing it up. Yesterday, Taylor's family held a rally saying they believe the officer failed to de-escalate the situation.
Here today to say, DA Dixon, we're not going to just lay down and be quiet. We are going to continue to fight you.
Jason Fletcher has been a political football for the DA's office until now.
Well, this Friday, Taylor's family plans to pack the courtroom when the judge considers the DA's motion to dismiss this case. Well, porch pirates do not take holidays off, and San Mateo police say they captured 3 of them, but not without a fight. Officers pulled over a car yesterday for a suspended registration on East Hillsdale Boulevard. Police say inside the vehicle, one of the passengers was concealing several packages in the back seat. Police say when they started questioning the driver, he drove off. That led to a short chase ending near Old County Road and Ralston Avenue in Belmont. Police arrested the 3 men inside and discovered the packages belonged to people in San Mateo. They're now facing several charges.
Well, time is running out for lawmakers on Capitol Hill to reach a deal and stave off next year's price spikes for many Obamacare health plans. The COVID-era tax credits expire in 3 weeks. The Senate is holding 2 votes today on the expiring health care subsidies. One, a Democratic bill that would extend the subsidies for another 3 years. The other, a Republican bill that would not extend the credits, but instead provide money for private health savings accounts. Both bills are expected to fail.
This is a way to give the American people the power of the purse and not give the profit to the insurance company.
The insurance offerings in the Republican bill are snake oil. They will spark a new avalanche of junk insurance plans where insurance companies make out like bandits.
Without a last-minute deal, out-of-pocket premium costs are set to double for about 20 million ACA enrollees. Both sides say more votes on the issue are expected next week.
More than a month after he was sentenced, we are now hearing the moments of former pilot from Pleasant Hill who tried to turn off the engine of an Alaska Airlines jet while in flight, and it was packed with passengers. Take a listen.
I took mushrooms. Okay. How long ago? 48 hours.
That's video from inside of a police car after Joseph Emerson was arrested. In the video from October of 2023, you can hear him talking about taking mushrooms. The off-duty pilot was flying as a passenger inside the cockpit of the flight, traveling from Everett, Washington to San Francisco. And that is when he lunged for a handle that would have cut engines. Listen to the voice of the pilot when he contacted the control tower to report what happened on board.
Horizon, we need to make an emergency landing.
I'm sorry, who was that?
That's Horizon 2059. We got a jump seater. Just try to shut our engines off. We need to go direct to Portland now.
You feel like you want to harm yourself? No, I just felt like I wanted to wake up. I felt like I was having a dream. I felt like I was having a bad dream. Okay. I've been feeling like I've been having a bad dream since 2 nights ago.
The pilot and co-pilot were able to subdue him and get the plane safely on the ground. Emerson has since founded a nonprofit focusing on the health and well-being of pilots and air traffic controllers. The now former pilot was sentenced to time served and community service.
Well, Denmark is now following the lead of Australia. It is planning to severely restrict social media access for young people. As we've been reporting, Australia this week began enforcing the world's first ever social media ban for kids under the age of 16. Now, supporters of the ban say it protects kids from online bullying and cyber hacks. Opponents worry, though, about the effectiveness of the ban and whether restricting access will push young people to even less regulated digital platforms. Here to talk about this issue is San Jose State Professor of Technology, Ahmed Banafa. Thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Well, some of the mental health harms of too much social media use amongst adolescents has been well documented. But what Australia is doing is really an experiment to see if cutting off that access is the solution. Do you think it will work?
Well, it depends on what kind of tools they're going to use. I mean, one of the things that they are really pushing is something called facial age estimation. And this is based on AI. I mean, just to explain exactly what they're trying to push, the accuracy there is about 90%, defining 13, 16, and 18, is that person will take a small video, selfie, or take a picture, and then the system will analyze it, looking for the skin texture, looking for the facial geometry, the bone structure, the ratio of the facial features, and then they will give some kind of estimate about the age of that person. Based on that, the account will be open or not. There are many other ways that to verify the age, but it depends on the accuracy of this. I mean, just quickly, one of the things that they're looking at is the vocabulary of that person when he or she is talking, their game action, when they are using the app. many things that will identify that person. This person is really not an adult, it's a child.
So it sounds like some of the ways in which they plan to try and enforce this or enact this ban are kind of questionable. I mean, the idea of everyone having to scan their face and submit their face for facial recognition to verify that they are over the age of 16, that raises some other questions about privacy and data sharing.
That is correct. That is correct. But this system or this method it's going to save it on the device. It's not going to be uploaded to servers, and this is why they're pushing for that more than any other system. The others, you're right. You know, one of the options, you know, there are 5 ways to deal with it. One of them, the facial age estimation. The other one is the ID. Plus an AI where they're going to check if the ID is real. The other one is the voice, the tone of that person when he or she is talking, you know, what kind of words they're going to use, the pitches that they're doing it, the slang, you know, in their language. Then you're talking about somebody, you know, looking at the operating system level. And this is very technical with the apps, meaning that Android and iOS will watch what kind of apps that download to that device, and then define if this person is an underage or at that age, and you don't have to go through the process of verification. That person will be labeled as a child.
But then what's to stop those social media companies possibly from using that identifying data for other purposes or selling it to other parties?
That's why you need the regulation. That's why you need something which is like the first method, which is you only save the information on the device. And also the privacy laws has to be strict on this because you're talking about kids. You know, one of the things in this law in Australia is the fine will be up to $9 million if they found out that this company is not, you know, following the rules, or 10% of the income of that company in the country. Now, you know, I want to be clear about it. In Australia, the government is looking to shut down 1 million accounts for teens that they're not teens. So this is what they are aiming at. They have, you know, it's about 50% of it with Facebook and Instagram. The other 50% is with Snapchat. So this is where they are targeting.
Right. I'm kind of struck in reading about this, the apps that are included in the ban and the ones that are not. So included, of course, TikTok, Instagram, but also YouTube and Reddit. But apps like Discord, Roblox, and WhatsApp are not included in this ban. So does this create some gaps?
I think this is coming out of not understanding how the teens are using those apps. They are very popular. You know, I can tell you, you know, students, at least in the university, when they talk to each other, they do not exchange emails or phone numbers. They're talking about Discord. This is my Discord. Join me at that Discord. So you can imagine that it came from high school and before, living on these kind of of communication tools. And that's something should be considered, you know, in the future to see how can you manage something like this.
All right, we'll have to leave the conversation there. Fascinating. We'll have to see what happens. Would love to have you back to talk more about it in the future. Ahmed Banafa, Professor of Technology at San Jose State. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
A local animal rights activist willing to go to jail to uphold her beliefs. How friends are supporting her as she'll spend the next 3 months behind bars.
Animal rights activists held a vigil outside the Sonoma County Jail before a fellow activist surrendered to serve a 90-day sentence. Zoe Rosenberg was found guilty of entering Petaluma Poultry and taking some chickens back in June of 2023. Petaluma Poultry said it was a coordinated effort to unlawfully enter the plant and steal property and data. But Rosenberg says the chickens are not treated well and denied basic care. Petaluma Poultry denies any abuse against its chickens. Advocates are calling on the governor to pardon Rosenberg. A former player on the men's basketball team of the University of San Francisco has been banned from competing again in college sports. Marcus Williams, seen here wearing jersey number 55. The NCAA accuses him of illegally sharing information about his basketball status with another person who placed bets on Williams' performance. Williams has since joined the Miami Heat Summer League team.
8:48 now. The Powerball jackpot expected to hit $1 billion on Saturday. This will mark one of the largest lottery prizes in the game's history. The grand prize will offer an immediate cash option of more than $461 million before taxes. This dramatic increase follows yesterday night's drawing, where no ticket matched all 6 numbers. Here are the winning numbers from Wednesday: 10, 16, 29, 33, 69, and the red Powerball of 22. 3 tickets sold in Maryland, Michigan, and New Jersey. They matched all 5 white balls. Those lottery players won $1 million each.
8:49 and happening now. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem testifying before the House Committee on Homeland Security in Washington, D.C. This is a live picture from that hearing room. Secretary Noem faces questions from Democrats about the Trump administration's approach to immigration enforcement. Noem last appeared before Congress back in May. Since then, immigration enforcement operations in cities like Los Angeles, Chicago, even New Orleans have become increasingly contentious, with federal agents and demonstrators clashing over her department's tactics. The topic of today's discussion in that hearing room: worldwide threats to the homeland, which in years past has focused on issues like cybersecurity, terrorism, China, and border security. But again, that hearing today focusing on immigration, and Secretary Kristi Noem testifying, answering those questions. Well, a hearing will also be held today that could decide how much we can see during the trial of the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk. A judge will decide whether cameras will be allowed in the courtroom or not. Tyler Robinson's attorneys are pushing to limit media access, saying the widespread attention could affect his right to a fair trial. While news outlets argue the hearings should remain open to the public, prosecutors plan to seek the death penalty. Happening today, President Trump officially launching a new immigration program called the Gold Card. This expedited visa offers permanent U.S. residency to foreigners who are willing to make a $1 million contribution to the government. Corporate sponsors can also pay $2 million to secure permanent residency status for key employees. The Trump administration aims to generate billions of dollars in revenue and bring in highly skilled international workers to the U.S. through this program.
All right, 10 minutes to 9 right now. There are several news stories we're monitoring at the moment. A Maryland federal judge ordered the federal government immediately release Kilmar Obrego Garcia while his legal challenge against his deportation moves forward. The judge ruled that the feds wrongfully sent him to detention in El Salvador, so he should now be granted a release. Obrego Garcia is a Salvadorian national with an American wife and child. He originally immigrated to the U.S. legally as a teenager. In 2019, a judge ruled he could not be deported to El Salvador because he faced danger from a gang that targeted his family. Obrego Garcia was purported to have been mistakenly deported there in March and became a rallying point for those who oppose the president's immigration crackdown. NASCAR announced it's reached a settlement of an antitrust lawsuit filed by 2 of its race teams, including one that is co-owned by NBA great Michael Jordan. The settlement follows a lengthy delay on the 9th day of the trial in federal court, but specific details of the deal have not been released. Both NASCAR teams sued the company last year after refusing to sign agreements on the new charter. The teams said they had no time to review the 112-page document.
Just about 10 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour. This is usually the time of the morning when traffic starts to settle just a little bit. Let's find out from Sal.
Yeah, the South Bay is where we're going to start because it's really slow, and this has helped or hurt, I should say, by earlier crashes. Things are finally getting better on 85, but it's backed up out of Saratoga all the way to Sunnyvale. And 280 is also super slow, and so is Highway 17. Just people trying to get around the valley because of earlier issues. You know what's improving a lot is the Bay Bridge. The Bay Bridge has really improved. There's a small delay at the metering lights, and then off you go into San Francisco. 8:52. Let's bring in Devin Truby with today's weather.
Good morning, Sal.
There you are.
Yeah. I was looking at something else. I was distracted by some of the cameras that you were talking about, looking at the view. We are experiencing just a couple things as part of our forecast today, besides the fog, even though I know that's been the main event. Also got our beach hazards alert as we are taking a look at waves anywhere from 8 to 12 feet. Don't be caught off guard by this, because the ocean can look very calm even for a half an hour before one of those sneaker waves comes in. A reminder, never turn your back. Always keep pets and kids within arm's reach distance. Went ahead and highlighted the areas experiencing that alert in the gray on the map for you. Talking about your day a little bit, we got the coast in those 50s, upper 50s, around the bay, low 60s, and inland upper 50s as well, as that fog is going to be burning off a bit slower today. Going to have a nice breeze throughout the day, probably about 8 to 12 miles per hour. A little more of the offshore flow. Also, right now, things are looking pretty calm. A few degrees warmer today than what we experienced yesterday, as we'll start to see those pockets of sunshine peeking through as we make our way through the morning hours. You know, we're somewhere where it is actually a little bit warmer than some of the Bay Area cities. Well, that's South Lake Tahoe. Temperature is about 10 degrees above average for this time of year if you're headed up the hill. Things are changing, though. We've got this upper ridge in place that is keeping the moisture mostly towards the Pacific Northwest. Also going to keep us dry for the weekend. Got a nice bell curve there. However, that's going to move out, flatten out. Allow this zonal flow to move in. High pressure moves out of the way, which is keeping everything in place, allowing us the possibility of one of our first rains of December, Monday, possibly Tuesday. Looking at heavier rainfall and some stronger winds as we make our way 18th through about the 21st as we continue to track that system. Not a lot yet on accumulation, but we'll keep an eye on it for you as I step out so you can get a nice view of that 5-day forecast. Go ahead and make your plans for the weekend, though, because things are nice and clear. Andre, Allie.
So much, Devin, thank you. 8:54 is your time. Your next vacation inspiration may come from the silver screen when you join us on the 9. How a Zootopia 2 character is turning Western Australia into a must-see, and the new direct flight from SFO that gets you there.
Golden State Warriors have a positive update for their star guard. Steph Curry is expected to return from injury tomorrow. Curry was out for 5 games dealing with a thigh contusion. The team went 2-3 without him. The Warriors played the Minnesota Timberwolves on Friday night. Forward Draymond Green could also return for that game. Green was out for 2 games due to a foot sprain. A public library in Hawaii is introducing the newest member of its team, a robot. This advanced android is designed to help guests with basic navigation, engage in friendly conversation, and provide entertainment, especially for children. The Honolulu Library received an anonymous $25,000 grant through the state library system to buy the robot. They view it as a valuable expansion of their services.
Libraries are more than just collections of books. We're starting to have collections of things. That includes technology. If we have technology that helps us do some of the basic work or gives us an opportunity to create services when we're not available, I think it's a wonderful thing because then it's better services for everybody. So we see it as a way of expanding, not contracting.
There are future plans to integrate AI software into that robot and partner with schools to expand its capabilities.
SFO's iconic Dianne Feinstein International Terminal celebrating 25 years. On December 10th, 2000, airport officials held a ribbon-cutting ceremony to open the new terminal to the public. Since its opening, the facility has served over 280 million passengers from around the world. The airport director calling it the premier global gateway to the San Francisco Bay Area. All right, live look outside. Mornings on to the night starts in about 60 seconds. We're going to have an update on all the fog and cold weather we've been dealing with in just 60 seconds. Stay with us.